Hey everyone, Paul from Mako. It's been a while since I've done a live video, and it's been a while since I've been in the office. It all changed. I hope everyone's great. I hope everyone's well. And I've got Ian with me today, which it feels like I've not seen Ian in months.
I know, we've just basically had a little reunion, hasn't it? We've been on loads of Zoom meetings chatting about how we're going to do this kind of stuff for months, haven't we?
Yeah.
But not actually seeing each other. We are still sort of social distancing. There's a meter plus between us. But yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It feels forever since we were last in here together.
Do you like what we've done with the place?
Yeah, it's great. I was just chatting about it's the first time I've been able to see all the new posters that have gone up, which is really, really cool. Some of the projects that we've been doing, it's been great to see them again, and remind myself about all the projects that have kind of flown past. But it's been great. It's been great back here doing another live video. So computer game design, retro computer game design, one of my favourite topics. Harking back to the 80s when my first computer consoles. So that's what we're looking at doing today. I might bring in some of those retro computer game characters. Not to give it away too much, I might throw some different characters out there, but we'll see. So during this video today, we're gonna do some character design on Microsoft MakeCode Arcade. So what I've got on my screen just before we start getting into any coding, I've got an example of a computer game, a platformer, that we're going to make over the next 3 weeks in this project. So today is all about characters, and I've mashed up 3 characters into mine. So if I just press go on mine, so here's a quick look at glance. Any bonus points if you can guess the 3 characters in the comments. I won't give any away, but there's 3 characters. I'm thinking everyone's going to get at least 2, but there is a tricky 3rd character that I've thrown into mine as well. So let's have a quick look without getting the skulls. Oh, you'd think I'd made this game. Got a skull. You like my bad guy there?
Yeah, definitely.
And a quick finish. So there is 3 characters that I've mashed in there.
Leave it in the comments, guys, if you can let us know what those 3. I think I got 3, but I can't. Maybe there's 4 in there. Is that an intentional thing? I'm not sure. Yeah, let us know what you guys think. Can we play it again, Paul?
Yeah. So, aim of my game is to collect all the power stones, but avoid the skulls. Really simple. So there's a power stone that's nice and animated. There's a skull there that I'm going to miss. Jump down, jump over that skull, and I'll jump again. Miss that one, jump up again. Fall down, I'll jump. Lost a life. And then finish. So, that's my game. That's what we're going to look towards over the next 3 weeks. Obviously, with platformers, we're not just going to have one level, so we are going to look at teleportation and moving on to the next levels and so on and so forth. But that's just a basic outline of what you can expect to do over the next 3 weeks. So, if you're ready. If you want to head over to microsoftmakecodearcade.com, and I'll head there myself so you can see what you're looking at. So, have we had any comments, Ian? Anyone shouted out yet? While we're letting people get in.
Your games, what games are in there? Yeah, we've had a few people jumping in. I think most people have got the obvious one, which is Captain America.
Yeah.
The shield kind of gives that one away. Mario and Pac-Man, Alfia suggested.
Yep.
Yeah, and Amy, who is actually, it says Amy, but this is Josh.
Okay.
Who's watching us. So he said, Pac-Man, Captain America, and I'm not sure what the last one is. Yeah, so
Okay.
everyone's getting Pac-Man and Captain America.
Okay.
Let's just have a quick look over on YouTube. Again, people saying Captain America, Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to put us out of our misery? What were they? What was in there?
So
Or is it a secret?
no, I'll share it. So what I mashed up was I did my own take on Pac-Man. So instead of him being yellow, I made him white. So I kind of thought of Pac-Man, and then I thought of Boo from Super Mario. So put them together. And then for my hero, there's 3 characters mashed up into my hero. So there's Captain America, there's Super Mario head, and then really hard one to see is when he's jumping up. I've given him Yoshi's tail.
That's where I was getting my 4 from. Mario. I was splitting Mario and Yoshi, but I guess from the same universe.
Same universe, but I kind of mashed them up, and I made that third one quite hard because you can only see it when he's jumping. So let's get started coding. If you are at the makecode.com, what we're going to do is we are going to start a new project. So we're going to click on this big orange button with a plus sign in it. We're going to start a new project, and the first thing we need to think about is our project name. So this can be changed later on, so you can, if you can't think of a name for your platform and now, don't worry, you can just put in your name till later on when you can think of a better name. So what I'm going to do just to start with, I'm just going to call it Retro Mashup. Until I can think of, because I might change my mind when I'm designing my characters, so you might design 2 heroes and mash up 2 heroes and then decide, oh, I've got a better name for my computer game. So once you've put your name in there, once you've given it a title, just press create. And then everyone will get this screen that's loaded up. And you get given your first block to start with, which is on start. And we're going to be putting bits of coding into there today. And just to go through, if you do find a name for your computer game, if you think of a really good name, you can change it at the bottom here. So right at the bottom here where I'm moving my mouse, where I'm moving my cursor, it says Retro Mashup, so you can change the name there at any point if you come up with a cool name for your platformer. So what we're going to do first is find a block to design our hero in, and we're going to go to sprites. And the first thing we're going to take in is this red one here that says set my sprite to sprite block of kind player. So we're going to take this one in, and we're going to put this one into on start. So this is where we're going to start to design our character, and you can, if you already know, rename your sprite here where it says My Sprite. If you click on it, you can rename the variable. And if you're not sure yet, because you're not sure of what characters you're going to design, you can leave that till you've designed your character. And to design your character, if you've never done any computer coding before, if you've never used this Microsoft MakeCode Arcade website before, this is where we design our character in this grey box here, where I'm moving my cursor. So if we give that a tap, it brings up the editor, and this is where we can design a character from scratch. But if you want to have a look at the gallery has loads of different characters in there as well. So if you're looking for a little bit of inspiration, maybe of something like Link from Legend of Zelda, because there's a guy here that's got a sword. If you want to mash that up, if you want to take that as an example and then turn that into Link from Legend of Zelda, by all means. Princess Peach from Mario is kind of looking a little bit like this one if you want to change this one. So there's plenty of little starters that you can take from the gallery, and you can edit that back in the editor to change it to what you want it to look like. So by all means, have a look at those. If you want to design yours from the start from scratch, from nothing, you can go back to the editor. And let's just go through a couple of these tools. So where I'm moving my cursor here is the pencil. So this is where we can draw. So if I just tap, we can draw. The next one, if we have this highlighted, this is the erase tool. So we can rub out everything that we've done. Next one is a shape. So it's a rectangle. You can tap and you can draw and you get a rectangle. If you've drawn a shape and you don't want to spend time colouring it in with the pencil, the next tool is the fill tool, which is my favourite thing. It's quick and easy and you can just fill any object in straight away. Next is the circle tool, which obviously draws a circle or a square depending on how far you pull it. So straight line, next one, really simply. And one of my favourite tools that I've started to use is this one, which has got a picture of squares in it and then a dotted line around it, and it's the Marquee Tool, and I use it quite a lot to highlight something. If I drag and highlight something, I can then move that around my page. So if you draw something and then you decide, oh, I need to move it, you can move it around your screen depending on how much you highlight. It'll move it around. And the last tool is our hand tool, so that allows us to pick up things and move around the screen. And then just underneath here we've got all our colours. So these are all the colours we can choose from to create our hero. So one of the questions we get asked quite a lot is, can we change the colours? And unfortunately it's not as easy as just choosing a colour and dropping it in at the side here. We'd have to go into a lot of different bits of coding and changing things. So these are the colours that we have to work with just for today, why we can quickly choose and design our character. So Ian, I'm going to shout you out here.
Yeah.
Give me a retro character.
Well, while you've been doing that, I put the question out to everybody on Facebook and just said, what's your favourite video game character? And we've had some responses. So Lisa has said Spider-Man. Yeah, I've completely lost touch, but some of the new games are meant to be really, really great, aren't they? So that's fantastic. And then our very own Jack has said that his favourite character is Luigi from Mario Brothers. That's a great shout. Who was your preference, Paul? When you had the choice between Mario or Luigi, did you go for the speed or?
I was like Mario.
Mario. Yeah, it had to be Mario. Jack's just being a bit.
Yeah. It says on the tin it's Super Mario.
And then another great shout from Sharon is Princess Daisy from Mario. Princess Daisy was always one of my go-tos with Mario Kart.
Yeah, I was just about to say that exact same thing.
Really fast. Then we've got another suggestion of Link from The Legend of Zelda from Lisa. So do any of those float your boat, Paul? Does that answer the question? I'm going to go with Link because one of my favourite games of all time is Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. So I'm going to slightly cheat today. I'm going to go to the gallery and I'm going to choose one of these pre-made characters because with a little bit of editing and colours I can then take this guy here to make him look like Link. So if I just tap on one, I can drag him in. I might mash him up with somebody. Have to have a little think who I'm going to mash him up with. So I'm just going to, because it throws him in directly at the top of the screen. So I've used the Marquee Tool there to highlight him. And just for my preference for when I'm playing the game, I'm just going to drag him down towards the bottom of the screen. It will help when you're doing your game that if he's at the character that you design is at the bottom of the screen, is touching the bottom of the screen, there's not going to be a gap between your character
and the level when you're designing your level as well. So if you're designing, try and make sure you are putting your character towards the bottom of the screen, because you don't want him to look like he's floating. Unless you're designing a ghost, unless you're designing Boo from Super Mario or Pac-Man. Maybe you don't want Pac-Man touching the floor, but try and get your characters touching the base of the screen. So let me see. Let's get him looking a little bit more like Link. Who would you mash up, Ian, with Link?
Oh, throwing me under the bus now. Hang on.
Just a little thing. Just a little.
Let's get it so we can see everybody. Who would I mash up? I think you've got to, if you've got the opportunity to mash up, then you've got to go cross-platform, haven't you?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Kind of, because sounding really old now. Back in the day, you were either Nintendo or Sega, and the lines are a little bit more blurred now, but they were the two main players in hardware, and you were one or the other, and Mario would never appear in a game with Sonic, or you had it was Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter, and that kind of, like, there was a very clear split, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So, whereas now you get all these versus games and things, which is kind of cool. I think one of my favourites was Donkey Kong Country. No, I'm not old enough to play the original Donkey Kong, by the way. Donkey Kong Country on the SNES, which was an awesome platformer, I thought. So I would probably go with something from Donkey Kong and mash that up with what was a great game on the Sega Master System.
Alex the Kid was always one of my favourite go-tos.
Yeah, he was the bad guy in Alex the Kid. I don't think I was ever good enough to get to the end of Alex the Kid. Who was the bad guy in that?
Oh,
not sure.
You're throwing me under the bus now, I can't.
Back at you. I would probably go with Donkey Kong versus Dr. Robotnik. Sounds like a good, because they're kind of both chunkier kind of characters. That feels like a fair fight, maybe. So they're the two bad guys that the good guy versus bad guy that I put together.
Yeah.
But in terms of mashing two characters together, we were chatting about Mario or Luigi before, so why not do both of those? Because Luigi was faster, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But he was taller,
yeah,
and he didn't stop as quickly.
Yeah.
So he was a little bit harder to control.
Yeah.
So why not mash that up and make Mario faster but easier to control, maybe, or something like that. And you could maybe give him half red, half green dungarees or something like that. I don't know, a red hat and
along those
green
lines.
dungarees.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out how to get Link's kind of what I would call a pixie hat, like, because it was like one of those, hats, and it dangled down like a bit of an elf hat. Looks a bit weird at the moment, but so at the minute I kind of gone for Link's hat at the moment. I'm trying to think of other characters to mash into him. Could give him blue hair, put a bit of Sonic in there. Like you say, do anything you want. This is kind of pretty cool aspect of mashing up. You can do loads of different characters. We've named like 2 or 3 that you can mash together. You could mash as many as you want into there. So you could put little Easter eggs in there. So like my little Easter egg in my demo game was I hid Yoshi's tail. So think about that. Think about different aspects. It doesn't necessarily have to be very obvious how you're doing it. It could be very, very subtle. It could be just like little hints, whether it be using Sonic's trainers, his red iconic trainers on your character, or it might be that you use, like we was talking about Alex the Kid. What always used to make me laugh about playing Alex the Kid is when he punched through blocks, he had like a boxing glove kind of hand fist that just appeared from nowhere to punch through things. So it could be little things like that, little tributes. It could be very subtle, the characters that you enter in. So you know what, I might give him a little bit of blue I might throw.
For anybody that was on the previous workshops where we looked at coding games and we looked at projectiles and things, so at the moment Paul's character's got a sword, which isn't a projectile, but we could, as weeks go on, we could look at you can revisit them and figure out how to do projectiles and stuff. So is your character going to be able to shoot or throw something? So Link had a sword, he also had a bow and arrow, but if we did a mashup, maybe he's got the blaster from Mega Man or Metroid, something like that, so he could replace that sword with like a cannon arm or something like that, and then you can have Link running around all the chicken farm type levels, or however you're going to design it, with this this laser cannon blaster thing. That would be easier to catch those chickens, wouldn't it?
I was just about to say that makes it much
wasted chasing after those chickens. So that could be something that you can mash up. It doesn't necessarily have to be characters, like Paul said, like the trainers idea. If you're going to make Link run the speed of Sonic, give him Sonic trainers. Or if you can mash up like power-ups or projectiles from different games. So imagine if Sonic was able to get a star from Mario. Was there a power-up in Sonic that was like that made him, he just kind of like span, and that almost made him invincible apart from the spikes?
You could collect invincibility in Sonic, because he ended up with the stars that are around him, so you could just run through things.
I was a Nintendo guy, so that's all a little bit lost on me. But yeah, just trying to get you guys to think about different characters that you can mash up. We're focusing on the design at this stage, but obviously you're going to want to have to program that into your game. So if you do create a part of the design that means he's got a cannon rather than a sword, or run fast trainers, you're going to have to figure out the code to make it do whatever you've said in your design. So yeah, you just need to think a little bit ahead, but at the moment we're just thinking about what would be cool, I guess.
So like I'm kind of just mashing up a few here. So he's kind of got Link's hat, and a little shout out to Jack why he said Luigi. I've kind of put Luigi's white emblem off the, obviously I could make it look like an L. I could undo that and make it look like an L, so it looks like Luigi's hat. Give him an L. There we go. So like I say, you can mash up as many different kind of characters, little tributes, little Easter eggs. So I've got Link's hat, but I've put Luigi's L on it. I've put Sonic's trainers on. Let's give it a little bit of white. Sonic's trainers with Sonic's legs. And just little bits and bobs like that. You can do them as subtly as you want, or you can make them as obvious as you want. It's completely up to you. This is the really cool thing. We're mashing up characters in loads of different ways. So once you're happy with your character design, press this done button at the bottom, and it'll throw your character straight in. Okay, so we can see on the left hand side of my screen how my character is going to look in the screen. Okay, and once you're happy with your character, your design, think about renaming it as well. So renaming the variable by clicking the arrow down and rename variable. So I have to kind of come up with a pretty cool name for this Link, Sonic, Luigi kind of mashup now. So any ideas?
I knew you were gonna.
No, not throw you deliberately under the bus. But is there any comments out there, shall we say, on Facebook? Let's put fastest finger. Let's see if anyone can come up with a.
Go on, in the comment section we've got Luigi and Link. I think they're the two kind of standout characters, and you've got Sonic's trainers at the bottom. So got a bit of alliteration there, Link and Luigi. So maybe there's something in there. Go on. Give us fastest finger first in the comment section. What should Paul's character be? You guys have got all the brains and the ideas.
Creative license, that's what I'm going to say.
That's the one. Just while we're here, we've got some suggestions. They would do a mashup of Wario and Waluigi. So we're going with the the other end of the stick there, combining the two bad guys, the alter ego kind of characters there. Yeah, that'd be great. Another great suggestion is Lisa said Spider-Man and the Hulk.
Oh wow!
Give Spider-Man the strength of the Hulk. That would make him pretty formidable in my eyes.
Yeah, that's quite insane, to be fair.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to think of what kind of bad guy you'd have to put in front of that superhero. I guess that's something to think about, though. Is what Sean always said, is that the game has to be challenging but achievable, and there's a very fine line. So we can mash all these characters together and make them like really, really cool, but kind of my beef with Superman is that he's just too good at everything. So if you make your character so that he's like got incredible strength and can fly and do everything, then it's going to make your game a bit too easy. So we need to think about the weaknesses as well. And then Jack's chimed in with who the bad guy was from Alex the Kid.
Is it going to be where I'm going to cry because I should have remembered it?
Janken, the Great, was the bad guy from Alex the Kid. So Jack's our resident.
Thanks, Jack.
Yeah, there you go. Nice one. Lincoln Steve from Minecraft. Give them a diamond sword. Like it. Great suggestion. Yeah.
Fantastic.
We've had a suggestion for your character now, Paul. I'm gonna try and read it out. Linguine. That's a pasta, isn't it? Linguini.
Yeah, linguini.
Linguini, and that's come from David Mooney. I think that's a winner.
So how did he spell it?
Linguini.
There we go. It's in.
I'm hungry now.
Love it. That's better than what I'd have come up with. I've been struggling. I was thinking there's got to be a link in there somewhere, but I like it. So that's pretty much our character designed for when he is stationary. Okay. So there's a couple of different things we can do with our character. I'm going to show you a little shortcut, a little bit of cheating here for animating your character without actually making too many different poses and changing different frames and all this kind of stuff. It's really, really cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back into the sprites category, and we're going to look for a block that says set my sprite. I think it'll say set my sprite. There we go, right at the bottom. Set my sprite image to, and it's this one here, right at the bottom under image. And we're going to grab this one and we're going to take this one out, and we're just going to chuck it underneath where we've designed our character. And it'll say program error, and we've got our little exclamation mark because it says my sprite, and there's no variable called my sprite. So if I click on there and change that to Linguini, that should go away. And what we can do is a little bit of a shortcut, because we've already got our character designed here. We don't have to redraw him here. We can just copy it and drag it in there, which is pretty cool. So now we don't have to redesign anything. We've just got it here and it's working. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go down to logic, and we're going to use this one. If true, then else. So this one, second one down, and we're just going to take this one in here. And this is going to allow us to flip between different poses of our character. So the poses we're going to have is if our character's moving left and right, if he's jumping, or if he's falling. So we need to put a little bit of coding in here so that when our game knows if our character is falling, so what his velocity is via X and Y, and if he's moving just across the screen. So there's a few different ways of doing this. So some people might look at this and go, Paul, this is the long way around, but this is a quick way of doing it without drawing loads of different pictures and animating them all together at once. So I'm going to go back into logic, and I'm going to get a comparison. So I'm going to get this second one down in the comparison section where it says 0, and I always say it looks like a crocodile mouth. It looks like it's open, and then another 0. And I'm going to take this one and I'm going to put this one in here. So this is like doing a little bit of maths in this bit. So what we need to do in here is we need to get some of our maths in there. So we need to say our velocity and our character name and stuff, and we can just drop in some extra bits into these circles. So if we go back up into sprites, and then we're going to look for this one here that says My Sprite, and it's got a times button. Okay, so it's this one. Under physics, it's the third one down, so it's this one here. It's the only one that's like a bubble shape, it's a round one. So I'm just going to drag this one in, and I'm going to drop it into that bit. And again, we get our little program error saying there's a warning, and I'm just going to tap on that and then change it to my character name. So what we need to do next is go to this where it says X, and we need to change this to VY, I think it is, yeah, VY. So it's this one here that says velocity Y. So I'm going to tap on this one. And this is for our character jumping. Okay, so this is when your character is going to be moving up. So what we need to put in here in this crocodile mouth is a picture of our character, what he might be look like jumping. So to do this, we go to sprites, and we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom again where it says set image to, and we're going to get this one, and we're going to put this one into here. And first things first is then to say that's going to be our character, and we're going to draw a picture of our character, what he might look like jumping. So you can cheat a little bit if you want just to use this one. Oh, wrong one, sorry, grab that one and drop that one in there, and so that gives you a template. So when you click on it, it might be that you change it slightly by moving him up the screen a little bit. So I'm going to highlight him, and I'm going to drag him up a little bit, and I'm going to change his leg poses. Probably is the easiest way to do it. Oh, get the right colours. So red trainers. Actually, easier way to do it first, rub them out, see what I'm working with. So you might want to do a completely different pose. So like on my demo game, my jump in was I saw the back of Captain America. It might be that you completely design a new pose. It might be that you want to save a little bit of time like I'm doing and just drag in your original character and just change his leg pose slightly. So I might go for I might keep actually that leg there, and I might put this leg up slightly. That's going to give him a really long leg. He's not Stretch Armstrong. There we go. So it depends on how you want your character to look like he's jumping, but I'm just going to go something really quickly like that, just so you can see the difference. Might move that leg up slightly actually. Might fill that in. So, something like that. Depends on what you want it to look like. It might be that you want to move it a little bit. You might have a really cool picture already in your mind of what you want your character to look like while he's jumping. I found that when I was designing some of mine, I used Google, because some people out there had already done some designs that helped me magpie some ideas, shall we say, on how to look at how to design characters when jumping, when falling, when running. It's completely up to you. That's quite a rushed effort of him jumping, to be fair, but you can spend as much time as you want. What I found is beta testing it, so designing something, putting it into the game, seeing how it plays, and then going back to it, making some changes, see how that is, and just keep going backwards and forwards and till you find the perfect jump or run or wherever it might be in your game. So I'm just going to press done, and then I've got 2 bits of code there now. So I've got stationary, and now I've got a jump. Everyone all right? Any comments come up here just before I move on to something else? Everyone okay?
No, that all looks pretty good. Let's just split that. Yeah, we've got some more people making some suggestions.
All right, okay.
That kind of thing. Luncario.
Okay.
Called the Hulk Spider-Man merge, the Spider Hulk. Sounds like
I like that one.
Yeah. And then we've got Lewink. Could have been a suggestion for that. Sounds like an operating system, that doesn't it?
Yeah.
Something like Linux. So some great suggestions for us. Keep the suggestions or what you're doing, what mashup you're doing. Send them to us and let us know what you're thinking of calling your game or your character. That would be fantastic. And we've also seen how people are finding the workshop, and everybody seems to be doing great or okay, which is fantastic. What I will do is I'll put a question up for on Facebook, just if you want to type in there some questions for myself or Paul, and then towards the end of this session we'll try and answer a few of them. But we will be chatting about our expansion packs towards the end, so that's a chance for you to actually get some FaceTime with us a little bit later on. But no, everybody is pretty good, Paul, so
good.
Let's crack on.
So what I'm going to do now is, so in this logic, in this if else block, there's another plus button. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tap on that other plus button, so it gives me the ability to throw in some more code in here. So it's similar to the top bit here that we did. What you can do is you can just duplicate that bit. If you've got it highlighted, you can duplicate it and drop it in there, but I'll go through where to find those blocks again. So I went into logic and I went for a comparison. I dragged the comparison into that block. And then I went up to sprites and I scrolled all the way to the bottom to find the sprite image. Like I say, you can do it that way, or you can do that. Oh, sorry, I didn't do sprite image. It was the velocity one, sorry. It's this one. You can just drag this one in. But you can, like I say, make sure it's highlighted, and you can duplicate it and it will give you the same one and you can drop it in. Okay, just get that out of the way. Change that to Linguini, and this time we're going to put in the same again here. So we're going to go velocity, and we're going to have VY, and this time we're going to tap here, and we're going to go the opposite way with the crocodile mouth. We're going to go that way, and we're going to get another one of these set image 2, which was under the sprite and was right at the bottom, and we're going to drag this one in, change it again, and we're going to do a new design. Okay, so what your character might look like if he is falling. So drag that one in there, so I can edit it and maybe change my character to look like he's falling. So I might, on this one, rub out his sword. He might lose his sword on this one, so I can have his arms.
His hat could come off a little bit, couldn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe lose it so he's not got his sword. Maybe arms out.
Yeah. Hat
coming off. That kind of thing. It's completely up to you. There's loads of different ways that you could maybe have your character falling. I always think it's better to have like a little bit of a comedic fall. I always like a little bit of fun when So what I've done there is I've just selected a part of my character there and been able to pull it apart. So what I did was, if I undo that, just so everyone can see, if you didn't see what I did, I selected this tool and I highlighted the, oh, it's still highlighted, let's get off it. So if you go to this one right here, which is the Marquee Tool, and then just select the part of your character that you want to dislodge and just pull it apart. And that allows you to do anything you want really, to pull apart different parts of your character. It's completely up to you. Let's rub out that pink. So let's maybe do something with his arms. What colour to give him? His arms. What? I might go for green and blue. But yeah, have a little think about how you're going to make your character fall. I always think it's pretty funny to have something comedic. I'm trying to think of the comedic falls through all the games now. I'm sure, I can't think who it was, but one of the computer games that I used to play, when a character was falling, he used to flap his arms, and it's going to drive me crazy thinking who it was. But stuff like that is always quite fun to have. Maybe he does something else. Maybe when Mario died, was it Mario? And he used to look like he was sitting down and he used to just fall off the screen. Was that Mario? I think it was.
Yeah, he kind of like went arms out, didn't he?
Yeah.
Some of if you ever want to do any research onto like copying, when you mash in, so you want to do some Google research or whatever, if you search for character sprites, then what you'll find online is that people have done like breakdowns of all the different frames and positions of like some of your favorite characters. So if you search for Mario sprites or whatever, one of my favorite, it was actually a really hard game. It wasn't the best game, but in terms of the design and everything, if anybody remembers Earthworm Jim, some of the sprites for that character were absolutely fantastic, because he was basically a worm in a super duper spacesuit, and some of the things, like even when you weren't playing, so you just like went and grabbed a biscuit or a brew or something like that, he'd sort of like start skipping with himself. He'd like pull the worm out and just skip on the spot, similar like Sonic would tap his foot, and it's these different positions that we're thinking about now, isn't it? So yeah, that's great.
So once you've done that, we've got a little tiny bit more coding to do with this little bit. Just zoom out a little bit so I can move it up my screen. And we're going to click that plus button again, so it allows us to drop some more logic into here, and we're going to go back into the logic one, and we're going to get this top one, sorry, the one that's got the equal sign on it. So it's the top one this time. I'm going to drag this one in, drop it into here, and we're going to do a little bit of maths in this one. So we're going to go down to the maths section, and I'm looking for the one, there it is, that says remainder of 0 divided by 1. Okay, so I'm going to grab this one and I'm going to drop that into there, and go back up to the sprites where I found the velocity one, which is here. I'm going to take this one in, and I'm going to drop this one, so you can see you're dropping it into the first circle, and on my screen you can see it's highlighted yellow, so I'm dropping it into the right bubble, and change this here. And in this crocodile mouth, in this bit here, I'm going to go and get my image again. Scroll down to the bottom. I'm going to get my set image. Pop it in there. Change it to my character name. And this one is your character moving across the screen. Okay, so this is the moving one. So my quick suggestion might be is you just bring just one leg up. Red. And do that. So this is a really quick kind of way of animating. I know plenty of people will be out there saying there's an animation pack in there, Paul, that you can do all this, but this is just a really quick way of animating without drawing loads and loads of pictures, and it's a great starter for some animating. So once you've made your slight change, so you can see on mine, all I've done is moved one of his legs up, so it looks like he's lifting his leg up to walk. That's really quick. So that's our poses done for the time being. And what we need to do now is, let's just get rid of that. We don't need that second bit. If I press that minus. So once you've got your code there, what I did was at the end, because I had a spare bit of code that I don't need, all I did was press that minus bit there to get rid of it. So this block here, this big if block, is all our poses that we need. Okay, and what I need to do, that I forgot to change, is where it says 1 here in this remainder of, I need to change that to 2. Okay, so with our code now, our character won't move around the screen because we've not put in our controller yet. We'll do that in a second. We've just got one little thing to put in, because we might be looking at this going, well, Paul, my character, when I go left and right, he isn't going to flip. He's still going to be facing the same way. And you are correct. We need to put in one little bit of code that now allows our character to flip between the left and right pose. So what we do is we go into logic, and we're going to get another top one here, this true. If true, take this and we're going to put it just underneath, and we're going to take this bit of code here. So I'm just going to duplicate that bit, and I'm going to take that down and drop it in here. Just to save a little bit of time, I've duplicated it, and then in here I'm just going to change that bit to this one here that says Vx, and then in brackets velocity x. Just change that bit. Okay, so this allows us, when we're coding our character, to flip between left and right. So what you can do is, what a lot of people do to save time, is in the search here, if you just typed in flip, it allows you to flip your character, and we want this horizontal one. Okay, it's the quickest way to find any coding. If you type in anything, it'll find the coding that you need. So I'm going to drag in my flip, and I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to put a little bit of extra coding in here, because what I want is to go to sprites, and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and I'm going to take this sprite image, and it allows me, it's already, as soon as I put it in, it's highlighted where it knows I'm going to put it. So I'm going to drop it in there, and then it kicks out the bit of code that I didn't want, which is just behind. Just leave it there, it's fine for the time being, and change this to my character name. So all that coding allows us our character to flip between different poses, and it's a really quick way of us being able to animate without actually drawing loads and loads and loads of pictures. So what we need to do now is put in some code in for allow us to move our character around the screen to see what it looks like. So we're going to go into the controller setting, and we're going to get this one, second one down, that says on a button pressed. So it's this one right here where I'm moving my mouse that's highlighted, and I'm just going to drag this into a bit of space on my screen, let's move it a little bit. And we're going to use another if block in here. So this if block is going to allow our character to jump and to move around. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this if true then and put that in there. And we can duplicate some of the code we've already done to save a bit of time, to move us around. And the one I'm going to copy is this one, the top one again. So I'm going to make sure it's highlighted the bit I want and duplicate it. I'm going to take it and drop it into the same shape where it says true. Pop it in. And I'm just going to change the mouth to equals. And what we're going to put in here is under sprites, and we're going to go for set my, if we can find it, set my sprite velocity, and we need this one here. Set my sprite velocity, and it's just got one bubble at the end of it, so it's this one. And we're going to drop it in. We'll get our warning that it says it hasn't got a variable name that my sprites. We change it, and where the X is, we're going to change that to velocity, this one. So VY, and then in brackets velocity Y. And we're going to change this. So this allows your character, when you jump, to come back down. Okay, so you might want to change this number quite a bit to find the right amount of speed of your character after he's jumped to come back down the screen. So there's a number that I found works that I like, which is -150. Okay, but it might be that you want your character to come back down the screen, back to the earth, back to where you set your land. You might want him to come down really quick. You might want him to look like he's free falling really quickly back down to the land. But that's completely up to you. I messed around with that number quite a bit to find the right kind of velocity of him coming down. But feel free to keep testing it. You might find that 300, you might want him to whoosh, like a superhero landing, like that's always quite popular. It might be that you want him to fall that like that, but that's completely up to you. Have a little play around with that number when you're doing it. So that allows us to do all our movements. Oh, let's just move that so everyone can see. So that's all our poses. That coding is all our posing. Some people might be saying, well, Paul, there's no background or there's no level yet. What we're going to do is we're going to save that coding and we're going to keep building on it each week. So we will add bad guys to it. We will add land. We'll add backgrounds. Feel free to have a little play between now and next week of adding in your scene, your background, your tile maps, which is under scene. Okay, so you can put in a tile map into your code, and you can start to have a look at designing what it might be. But we are going to cover that in the later weeks. But that is just our basic character design, how he's going to move through our platformer, all those types of things. So don't worry that we've not got no level designs yet or anything like that. We're going to build on it each week with something new. Ian, have we got any questions just at this point?
Yeah, I think that's probably a really good time to mention what Natalia Myerscough has said. Said, and it's something you went through with me before, is Paul, don't you want to put that logic in a game update? Otherwise, it will only do it once.
Spot on.
Yeah, well
Spot on. Yes, we would. So just for today, I've chucked it all in here. And then once we start to build on it each week, we will take that bit of code out and we will put it in a game update. and we will have it in this block here. But just for today, I've just chucked it in the on start, so we can still build on it. Your game would work with all those loops and if statements. It would still work, but like you say, it wouldn't update all the time. But as we start building on our game, we will drag that across and we will put it on a game update, and we'll keep moving through, because on your under your on start, you'll have different things with your game tiles and everything like that. But yes, great question.
I just thought it was worth mentioning in case anybody else is wondering the same thing. Then there you go. If that made no sense to you, then don't worry, you are in the right place at the right time, just following along with exactly what Paul said, and that is fine. So like you said, we're going to build on that week on week. So now that you've got a good idea of where it is that we're pointing, if you're happy with where you're at right now, then that's the perfect time to save. If you take that information that you've just learned and maybe you want to rewind the video and come back to it and go, you know what, actually now I get it, I'm going to start again or whatever. But before you come back next week, we need something that's saved and that is at that point. So the code is built like that, the way that Paul showed it, and we will put Paul's code up on our website if you did want to recap it as well as looking back through the video. So we'll do all that for you, but next week we kind of need you to be there. It's okay if you want to play around and try and go a little bit further, like Paul said, put some backgrounds in and stuff like that, but just as long as you are where Paul is at right now, then that is going to be perfect for week 2. But before we get on to week 2, we want to see what you've done in week 1. So that doesn't necessarily mean right now. You might not be ready yet. You've just learned some stuff and you're thinking about what characters you're going to mash up and that kind of thing. So we're going to close the deadline for submission on this on Sunday. I think, as I've just made a deadline up off the top of my head, but Sunday seems to be the going one. So last thing on Sunday, so we can have a chance of looking at them on Monday. So you've got plenty of time. Please don't rush it. We have people in the comments saying, how do I submit the game? How do I submit it? We're not interested in fastest finger first. We'd rather you go away, think about it, and work hard on your mashup, what you want to do. So you've got until Sunday, and when you're at the stage where you go, you know what, I'm happy and I'm ready to submit this to the guys at Mako, what do we do, Paul?
Okay, just building on that as well, remember it's not the entire game that we're looking for. This is character design, so this is your mashed up character. So we're hoping to look at some great mashups between the characters. So what you need to do is head over to Mako Create's website, and at Mako Create's website, so makocreate.co.uk, it will be at this home page. And what you need to do is you need to head over to projects, give that a tap, and we're looking for the retro video games mashup online. So this second one here on my screen, tapping on there, and that takes you to the web page that you need. Okay, it tells you all about the live stream project, when it is, what we're going to be looking at, what the dates are. So the expansion packs are on here, which I'll go through in a minute. So you just keep scrolling down and you get to week 1. And under week 1 is submit here. So this is where you can submit your mashed up characters. Okay, so emphasizing again, it doesn't need to be a full game. If you want to put a bit of level design in there, that's fine, but we are going to be looking at your characters. And fill out this form for us. So the maker's name, how old you are, we need an email address from a parent, a guardian, or somebody that's over 18 that's in your household that's going to be looking after you. Going to put there, and then the most important part is your game URL. If you've never used MakeCode before, to get that URL, I'll just go back to the website, and you click the share button up here. You tap it. It gives you the option to change the title of your game again. But once you press publish, it gives you this URL here, which is the most important thing. So if you keep hold of that URL, you can just keep opening it and editing it, and if you keep that safe, it'll help you for next week when we come back and do some more coding on it. So if you click copy on it.
Paul, just really quick, your floating body was right over the share button before that window opens. So just in case anybody hasn't done it before, could you just do that real quick?
Yeah, I can do. So share is right at the top here next to home. It's the 3 bubbles that are connected to make a kind of triangle shape. If you tap on the share and then press publish, this is where you get your URL from. Okay, so you can share it on any social media, but you can also press copy. And then if I go back to Make or Creates, that's where you're going to put that URL. So if I just paste that in there, it allows us to see, we can go and see your published games, and then you just submit it and we'll be able to see it. If I go back to Make or Creates website as well, there we go. So not only are we doing the live streams through our social media, if we scroll down a little bit more, is the expansion packs. Which are really cool. These are going to be looking at this week is more animation and power-ups that we can add into our games. So if you would like more tuition that is a little bit one-on-one, there's a maximum of 10 tickets, Ian? Is it 10 or 15?
10 or 15, I can't remember off the top of my head. 10 or 15, but it's a small class where you have the ability to have FaceTime with us, so the more you can leave questions in the comments, but we might pick them up or that kind of thing. But the expansion pack is a private thing over Zoom where you can see us. If you want to, we can see you, and you can talk to us and just say, can you do that bit again, or what if I wanted to do this, how would I do that? It's your chance, like a real class, for you to interact with us. So it is a ticketed thing. You do need to kind of get them quick while they're available. It is a 10 or 15 tickets, so it's only a small class. So they are kind of first come, first serve. So if you want to get them, what do they do?
Just at the side, we've got our tickets and more info. So if we just tap on there, that'll take us through to Eventbrite, where we can buy our tickets. Like Ian was saying, we did our expansion packs for the last Coding Computer Games live stream. They were very popular, and a lot of the children found it very useful being able to ask questions and getting an answer there and then, and a bit of advice straight away through myself and Sean. And they are very popular, and we cover lots of different things, and it is that kind of FaceTime that children might need to ask questions, rather than being able just hoping we pick them up in the comment section. But like I say, very, very limited number of tickets. So if you've enjoyed the live stream, make sure you do head over to the Eventbrite to get your tickets for the expansion pack, which is Friday at 10 o'clock. It's an hour, so it's 10 till 11. You'll see myself delivering the session, and we'll also have Sean in there as well, or Jack. I'm not sure one of them's with me this time, but I'll be delivering it. You can ask as many questions as you want, maybe even some advice on how to set out your game. All these different types of things we'll cover. But yeah, it's a really cool one. It's animation and power-ups and collectibles. Collectibles, not power-ups. So there's a little bit of an example there of what you might do. You might use Sonic's rings or Mario's coins. In mine, I used gems. I stole one of the Infinity Stones. So it's completely up to you. Any other questions, Ian?
We did have I did put it out there. It was kind of like if anybody's got any questions about the game makers and about the code and stuff that you've put together. But somebody just said, who would win, Mario or Sonic? And that I think we could do a whole hour on that whole discussion, couldn't we? So great question though. I've got to stay loyal to Nintendo, I would say. Mario, but at the end of the day, he is just a plumber. So versus like what was Sonic was a hedgehog, but he was a Sonic hedgehog. Yeah,
he was very fast.
Yeah, so I don't mean like just a plumber. I mean like just a plumber versus like a really fast hedgehog with spikes and stuff.
And it could spin really fast on the floor.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll go with Mario.
Yeah.
So is that, have we covered everything there?
I think we've covered everything that we need to cover today on hero design and poses. Like I say, all that will start to make sense over the coming weeks when we start moving those blocks into different blocks and adding more blocks in. But that's a great start for this week.
Yeah, so if we did have some people who are saying they're a little bit stuck and they're a little bit behind and that kind of thing, this video will be, you can rewind it now, or when it's finished it'll be on Facebook, it'll also be on YouTube for recap and review, and it'll stay there for all time basically. So don't worry if you are late or you fell behind or anything, you can catch up in your own time. But speaking of that, because you might be watching over here on YouTube, we are over in other places as well, or you may be on Facebook and not know. We are all over the shop basically. So if you're on Facebook and you want to check out some more of our videos, you can head over to YouTube. Just have a search on there for Mako Create UK or youtube.com/Mako Create UK, and you'll find that there. We are also on Instagram. Instagram's the only place where we're not live streaming this session out, but there is loads of cool bespoke content on Instagram as well. And then over on Twitter or Periscope, we are on Mako Create UK as well. And lastly but not leastly, obviously Facebook, which is a great place to go if you want to know more information about up and coming projects that we've got on the go. And we have got lots of stuff that's just around the corner. So there's the live streams that we've got going, Sean's animation one, which we started yesterday. You can catch up on the video on that. And we've just started this one as well. So we've got another 2 weeks of both of those live streams. But we have got some other stuff. I'm going to sort of point at this poster a little bit. If anybody who doesn't know, Halton Make Fest was a great project that we ran last year, and we've kind of got the green light to go again with that in 2021. So just keep your eyes peeled for that. And we have got other stuff that's going to be happening over the summer, this summer as well. So Facebook or our website, put the address up for that, makocreate.co.uk. Facebook or our website is the best place to go if you want to know what it is that we're doing right now or just around the corner, if you want to get involved in all of our fantastic projects that we've got going on. Whoa, I almost wrapped that then. Yeah, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed the workshop. Thanks very much, Paul.
Yeah, good
fantastic.
To
be back. Yeah, definitely good to have you back. Yeah, check it out. Recap if you need to, and get to that stage where Paul got you to.
Yep.
And we'll see you again next week.
Unless we see you at the expansion pack, where we're going to cover some pretty cool stuff. Like I say, it'll be fun. Just remembering to keep hold of your URL for next week, and like we say, we're going to keep building on it. I didn't want to throw too much coding out there straight away, because obviously the biggest thing is getting your character mashed up correctly. Having all that designed and ready to go, so we can just move that around at a later date to where it needs to be. But yeah, it's been great to be back. I hope everybody's enjoyed it. Any questions, put them in the comments, and I'll see you at the expansion pack or here next week for the next video. Thank you very much, guys.